Well, before I was ever really reached, my life was pretty much a wreck, an absolute train wreck. My wife and I were on the verge of divorce. Our relationships with our kids were definitely not where it needed to be. We didn't have a nurturing household. Love was definitely something that was seriously lacking, if not totally absent in our house. Coming into Family Bible Church for the first time, I wasn't completely at home, but I didn't feel judged either. And I didn't feel like I was under a microscope or that I didn't fit in. I actually felt like I blended in with the place pretty good, and even being intimidated like I was. But I remember the Sunday that we were ultimately reached by the true gospel. And I remember the title of the sermon that day was Church Haters. And up until that point, that had been me. Looking down at the title of that bulletin, I just started to laugh. I remember being about 2 or 3 steps behind my wife, and I'm giggling to myself as I'm going down the hallway and kind of nodding like, okay, I see what's going on. I see what you're trying to do. And the whole time I didn't even realize I was talking to God. I remember at the time, Cameron must have been, about 2 years old, 2.5 years old. I remember her needing to go to the bathroom. And I got up. My wife and I had been kind of arguing that morning, but we went to church anyway. I remember Cameron saying she has to go to the bathroom. I picked her up in the middle of the service, walked into the bathroom, and as I'm in the stall with her, helping her out, I remember falling to my knees and absolutely breaking down in tears. And I remember being in that bathroom stall with my little girl, and I remember breaking down in tears. And for the first time that I can ever remember, at that moment, I heard God speak to me in a way that has been one of the most clearest times I've ever heard him in my life, even as a believer for the past 4 years. And the only thing I could hear him saying was, "You've done it your way long enough. If you don't let me in now, you're going to lose it all." I knew from that moment right there, I knew that I've done it my way long enough. I've done everything I know. I know what to do in my power to try and fix my marriage, to try and be a better father, and none of it worked. None of it was working. And I had thrown up my hands and said, basically, okay, I'm at rock bottom. I might as well give God a shot. I remember walking back from the bathroom back into that service. I sat Cameron down, and I remember Ray looking at me and putting her arm around me. And for the first time in, I can't tell you how many years of our marriage before that for the first time I felt like there was a genuine caring between us, that there was a glimmer of hope, which was, it seemed like an awesome sunrise at that point, just a shred of hope, considering where we were and how dark of a place we were in. I remember Pastor Allen giving an altar call at the end of the service, and this had definitely been something that my wife and I had not talked about, should we get saved, or are you saved, or any of that. None of this conversation had taken place yet. And we're both sitting there. He gives the altar call, and with a little bit of hesitation, but still following through, my wife and I both raised our hand at the same time, not knowing that the other one was going to do it. We were asked at the end of the altar call, Pastor Allen asked for those who had raised their hand to come up to the front of the church. That's probably the hardest first step I've ever taken in my life, was standing up and stepping out into that aisle with my daughter, with my wife, and knowing how broken we were, and to to display that, even just a shred of that brokenness to that many people that we didn't know. Took just an incredible courage, but it was almost like you felt like you were pushed out into the aisle and pushed down the aisle to the front of the church. I remember standing up there and actually feeling like the weight of the world was lifted off both of us. My name's Daniel Chimento, and I was reached.